The lady wasn't easily scared, but she felt attacked. Other passengers around were starting to stare at them. He was loud and attracted too much attention. He wasn't going to leave her alone. This stranger didn't want her to sit down in her seat. He tried to stop her before she took her place by holding her hand. He was getting too close. Amanda Bryan, a soldier with 2 years service in China, was on her way home to New Jersey, New York. Tired but eager, she boarded the long flight, feeling a mix of excitement and relief. After years of varied experiences, Amanda had no idea this journey would be so different. At a busy airport in China, 34-year-old Amanda, a committed soldier, got ready to board a long-awaited flight back to New York after over 2 years of service abroad. In her military uniform, she noticed the curious looks from other travelers as she walked through the terminal. Had they never seen a female soldier before? At Beijing International Airport, Amanda, a determined soldier returning from duty in China, attracted curious stares in her military uniform. As she navigated the bustling terminal, her poised presence and striking appearance captured the attention of fellow travelers. As Amanda walked to her seat, fellow passengers watched her closely. In her military uniform, she stood out from the crowd. Some looked at her with admiration, others with curiosity. Amanda tried to ignore the attention and simply find her seat. All she wanted was to sit down. As Amanda entered the transcontinental flight, she felt the eyes of numerous passengers on her. Ignoring the curious looks, she searched for her seat. Thankfully, her assigned spot had extra legroom, a small relief for her tiredness. Yet, as she settled in, she still sensed someone's gaze fixed on her. Luck seemed to favor Amanda as she found her seat, which surprisingly had extra legroom, a welcome luxury for the long flight. Thankful, she settled in, longing for a calm journey home. Unbeknownst to her, her trip was about to become unpredictable. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell for more amazing stories. Someone lurked just behind the curtain, watching her closely, making Amanda feel uneasy. As Amanda got comfortable in her seat, enjoying the extra legroom, she noticed a man in his late 40s sitting in the first-class section, staring at her. Initially unperturbed, she tried to concentrate on the journey, but the man's continued gaze made her uneasy. Was it her uniform that drew his attention? The middle-aged man in a suit kept staring at Amanda, making her uneasy. Was it her military uniform that caught his interest? Before she could think more about it, he stood up and approached her confidently. Feeling a bit intimidated, Amanda answered, "Yes, this is my seat," as he continued to focus on her uniform. The man stood up and approached Amanda confidently. Taller than her and dressed in a fancy suit, he made her uneasy. "Excuse me," he said with a hint of hesitation. Amanda nodded, puzzled by his inquiry about her seat choice. He seems decent. There must be a reason, she thought. Then the man's demeanor changed, and with a hint of gratitude in his eyes, he explained, "I can't let you sit here. It's not safe." He glanced around the cabin, as if checking for something. Amanda nodded, puzzled by the request. The man gestured towards the first-class cabin, explaining he couldn't let her sit there. "There's a change of clothes for you, if you're interested." Confused, she asked why. Smiling sincerely, he thanked her for her service and insisted she deserved a more comfortable seat. "It's the least I can do," he said. Amanda looked puzzled as she asked why he objected. "I can imagine you're tired of being stared at in your uniform," he said, causing her cheeks to redden. After a brief pause, he expressed his heartfelt gratitude for her service. "You deserve better," he insisted, gesturing towards the first-class cabin. "Please, let me offer you my seat." He kindly motioned towards the empty seat ahead. Touched by the gesture, Amanda felt a rush of emotions. Special treatment like this wasn't common in the army. She thanked the man, but politely declined his offer. "I appreciate your kindness, but I'll be fine here," she said, trying to hide her embarrassment. The man, grateful for Amanda's service, smiled warmly and went back to his seat. Throughout the flight, he kept turning back and smiling at her. As the plane took off, Amanda felt honored yet puzzled by the encounter. Unbeknownst to her, this act of kindness would lead to a journey full of surprises. In the dim cabin, Amanda thought about the unexpected encounter. It had been a while since she'd had any real interaction. The man's interest was refreshing. She pondered the stories of her fellow passengers, feeling fortunate to be part of this international journey. She felt special. Amanda appreciated the man's compliments, but felt they were out of context on the plane. She had a secret she always kept to herself, and she wondered if he had noticed something she tried to hide. Despite the curious glances, she never revealed her secret. Did he somehow guess it? As the man spoke, something clicked in her mind, and she wondered if he had figured it out. The compliments now felt like a trap. Glancing back at the man, she felt a chill down her spine. His demeanor made her uneasy, feeling he was probing her deepest secret. Nervous, she trembled slightly. She wondered if he noticed. Suspicion lingered, and she wanted to escape the tense atmosphere. In her over 3 decades of life, Amanda had seen it all, the good and the bad, though not equally. In her view, the world seemed filled with more evil than good. People were greedy and relentless, stopping at nothing to satisfy their desires. How often had she seen people do favors only to expect something back? She wasn't innocent either, having used the same tactics herself. To her, it was just how the world worked. But her problem with the man was more complicated. Amanda had learned to be cautious. Her experience taught her to be skeptical of too good to be true offers. She'd encountered all types of people, and the ones she found most dangerous were those who were always friendly and affectionate. The fact that this man fit that description made her uneasy. Amanda had already taken his offer. Now, she sat in his seat, enjoying luxuries she wasn't prepared to owe anything for. Sure, the man was rich and could give up his seat in gratitude for Amanda's service. But there had to be more to the story. Amanda chose to relax and see what happens. She figured she should chat with the man and see where it goes. Maybe there were still good people around. She realized she shouldn't judge him before talking to him. But Amanda had already convinced herself that nothing positive would happen. Still, she couldn't leave. The seat was incredibly comfortable, and she almost groaned with pleasure as it enveloped her. The man knew she wasn't going anywhere. Amanda saw the condition of the other seats. They were nowhere near as comfortable as what he offered. So, what did she do? Amanda was torn between caution and curiosity. Despite the urge to leave, she couldn't give up the seat she'd spent months sleeping on during deployment. "You're smiling," the man said, his voice calm, drawing her attention. Meeting his gaze, Amanda saw his intention crystal clear. The man held glasses of champagne, bubbles fizzing in each. He offered one to Amanda, a faint smile on his lips. Amanda's cheeks flushed. A first-class seat, and now champagne? This man was clearly trying something she wouldn't accept. It was time to go. "I can't take this," Amanda said, trying to keep the mood light. "The seat is plenty." She almost called him Czar, but her daughter had warned her that it could be seen as flirting. Amanda didn't want to give him the wrong idea. She tried to stand up, unsure of what the man would do next. The man swiftly set the drinks aside, impressing Amanda with his precise and refined movements. "I'm sorry for being so direct," he said, bowing his head slightly. "I didn't even ask what you like to drink." Amanda listened closely, but she also noticed something else that made her frown. The man was incredibly articulate, yet also polite and thoughtful. Amanda's thoughts drifted back to her negative view of the world. This world has more evil than good, her mind whispered. She recalled the man's proficiency in handling the champagne glasses. His skill mirrored hers, the kind honed through rigorous training for months. Amanda paused, realizing something. Amanda felt a sense of dread as a troubling thought crossed her mind. What if this man was a special forces agent from another country, and she didn't realize it? What if he was here to intercept her? She took a deep breath, trying to clear her mind. She needed to think clearly. What if he intended to harm her, or, even worse, exploit her for information? As a military member, Amanda knew sensitive information that could harm her country. Her mind raced, wondering if someone was trying to manipulate her. She'd heard stories of service members being captured and harmed for months. She'd met and talked to several of them. None had crazy stories about how they were taken. It often started with something as simple as a plane seat. "Sorry," Amanda said as she stood. "I'll go back to my seat." She glanced around, hurrying out of first class. "Thanks," she said. "You're kind, and God will reward you. But I need to go back, okay?" "Why?" "Why?" the man asked, worry creasing his forehead. "Did I say something wrong?" He looked around. "Is this not good enough?" His hurt expression pulled at Amanda's heartstrings. Would she leave now? Amanda took another deep breath. Maybe this man was genuinely kind, but if he tried anything, she knew she could handle it. With that in mind, Amanda sat. But the man just sat next to her, staring. When he stood up, the seatbelt light turned off and he could move around. Amanda's soldier training should have made her feel confident, but she felt anxious instead. Something about the man made Amanda uneasy. She couldn't pinpoint it, but her instincts warned her to be cautious. As he approached her seat, her eyes tracked him. Yet something about him unsettled her. Maybe it was his hands staying hidden in his pockets, or how he avoided eye contact. Her instincts, sharpened by years of training, activated, and she checked for threats. Then, she noticed a suspicious bulge in his pocket. He had taken something from his seat and was hiding it. Unease swept over her as she braced for trouble. Straining her eyes, she barely discerned a faint shape ahead. Fear gripped her heart. It could be anything, a threat or hidden danger. Meanwhile, he approached swiftly from behind, leaving her to wonder if anyone would help. A sinking feeling hit her as she realized she was alone in the darkness. Little did she know, things were about to get worse, and her worst nightmares were about to come true. As the man neared her seat, Amanda's heart raced. She knew she had to confront him, no matter what he planned. With a cunning smile, he pulled something from his pocket, which Amanda couldn't quite see. She prepared for a fight, but when she saw what he held, thoughts of violence vanished. The object he showed her promised to change everything, leaving Amanda feeling both excited and nervous to discover its meaning. She cringed at the metallic object he held. Seeing her reaction, he quickly clarified, "I want you to see this." He revealed a shiny locket, making her gasp. It trembled in his hands, but it was what was inside that would change everything. He offered it to her, but she hesitated. Eventually, she accepted it and examined it. Flipping it over, she saw a familiar name. The locket read, S. Squire. Memories rushed back. She recalled working with a soldier named Susan Squire. Could it be the same person? She opened the locket slowly, fearing what she might see. Inside was a picture of a woman from the army, Susan. They weren't very close, but they shared a sense of camaraderie. "Is she your wife?" Amanda asked, but the man shook his head sadly. "She's my sister," he explained. "That's why I offered you my seat as a gesture of kindness." Amanda thought it was over, but she wasn't in the clear yet. Her guard eased as he shared his story. He asked if she knew his sister. She nodded and showed him a photo of her military division, knowing Susan was among the soldiers. The man studied the photo, trying to find his sister, but he couldn't spot her. "It's tough to see faces, but I trust she's in there," he said, thanking her again. It seemed their conversation was over, but Amanda had no clue the man would soon take things further. After a last talk, the man hesitated in front of her. Did he want to say something else? Then, a voice broke the silence. "Excuse me, sir. Could you return to your seat?" a stewardess asked kindly. Reluctantly, the man agreed, but Amanda felt he would return. The man in front wore a secretive, yet thankful smile, hinting at a mystery Amanda wanted to solve. Why was he so kind to her? As he glanced back, Amanda found herself drawn to him. Though she knew she should stay professional during the flight, she couldn't help but feel flattered by his attention. It made her feel like a regular woman again. As if on cue, the man rose and came back to Amanda. He introduced himself as Travis Clerkman, a businessman. He urged her to take his seat once more. This time, Amanda couldn't say no. She decided to go with it. It was a chance to relax in first class and maybe chat with him more. What would happen next? Nervous but thankful, Amanda accepted the surprise and settled into the luxurious first-class seat. "This is too kind," she remarked as she changed. Travis had the flight attendant bring her a cocktail. He promised to talk later, before heading to the economy section. Amanda felt a mix of gratitude and curiosity as he left. Wanting to acknowledge the gesture, Amanda wrote a note of gratitude to the mysterious benefactor. "More people should be like you," she wrote, offering to cover his snacks and drinks. She wondered how he would respond to her offer. Amanda handed the note to a flight attendant, who delivered it to the man in her economy seat. He opened it, smiled, and glanced at her. Shortly after, he came out from the curtain between cabins, wearing a surprised and grateful smile. He stood beside her, smiling back. Amanda was nervous because it had been a while since she last went on a date, especially one on an airplane. It felt like a dream come true. He agreed to her offer, and they began chatting, breaking the silence that had filled the flight. What would happen next between them? They had a pleasant conversation and shared a drink. Travis was curious about Amanda's job in the Army. "Are you out in the field?" he asked. Unbeknownst to Amanda, the flight would be more than just a trip home. It would show how strangers are connected and how a small act of gratitude can change someone's life. Amanda had too much complimentary champagne. Travis enjoyed her company and asked the flight attendant, who he knew, to bring more glasses. The talkative soldier happily shared her life as a soldier with her new friend. Plane's hum provided a calming background as their story began to unfold 30,000 feet above ground. What was Amanda getting into? Travis eventually bid Amanda goodnight with a charming smile. She was already drifting off to sleep and appreciated his departure. As the flight continued, Amanda's thoughts shifted between memories of her service and the excitement of seeing her loved ones again. It was already shaping up to be an interesting flight back. The weary soldier had doubts about the kind man, but she decided to believe in people's goodness. Even the flight attendant remarked how lucky she was. He gave her his seat. Despite their awkward start, the man became a symbol of unexpected kindness in unlikely places. With 5 hours remaining in the flight, Travis came back to Amanda, holding the note she had written him. She blushed, recalling her enthusiastic message. As time passed, Amanda and Travis shared stories and laughter, forming a bond that ignored social barriers. Was she being too open with him? Travis noticed the soldier's discomfort and tried to calm her. "Here's my business card. You can visit me at my office if you'd like. "I could use some protection," he said smoothly. Amanda promised she would. "No obligations," she added. The chance meeting at 35,000 feet had transformed a routine trip into a story of friendship and kindness. Amanda savored the newfound kindness in her life. For the first time in ages, she regretted the time she had wasted and longed for a fresh start. The once ordinary skies now painted the backdrop for an inspiring chapter in Amanda Bryan's life, a tale she would cherish long after landing back in America.